That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Smoking big cigars. I hope you're ready for what's coming now. I'm the one, I'm the lady that will bring you down. There's a joint on the corner where the big boys play, where the whiskey's running like the river, but they all never come for the booze and bass. I'm the one, I'm the lady that'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this
From the beginning. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this place. Rock this
selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector.
Welcome to the IPA Champions Cup, live on Sporty Stuff TV.
Well, a very good evening. It's finally arrived, the grand final, Sporty Stuff TV Champions Cup. We've had 162 matches so far. We've got another 6 tonight, but at the end of the 6 matches this evening, we're going to know who's going to take that trophy home, and a lovely prize of 10 grand as well. I've got with me resident pundit Mark Pickworth. Good evening, Mark. How are you, mate?
Now then, Gary, you're looking really dapper tonight.
Mark,
you are.
Look, it's grand final.
The last time
night,
I saw you was on ITV TV, and you were soaking wet.
I was a bit different dressed then, weren't I, at Cheltenham? But we're here tonight anyway. What a fantastic, absolutely, grand final. You couldn't have picked our 3 best players, aren't we, Mark?
Yeah, all these 3 players, they've all won an event now, and they're all contesting, as you said, for £10,000 and that glorious glass trophy. And it's one final that I've been really looking forward to. I've been really looking forward to this specific day. It took us 10 weeks to get here, but we're here now.
Yeah.
And tonight is the night where we're going to find out finally who is going to be that 2022 Sporty Stuff TV Champions Cup winner.
Well, we've had a real long journey it's been, hasn't it, Mark? But as you just said, them 10 weeks, and at the beginning, the first night I ever done the pool here, sitting in this chair here, and Liam Dunster, he won 4-0, 4-0, 4-0, and I thought, God, this is easy. But oh dear, in them 10 weeks, anything could happen, couldn't it? And you can see why the betting partners of Sporty Stuff, why they want to get involved. There've been some shocks on the way, hasn't there? We've had an 8-1 winner. We've had a 9-1 winner that you put up not so long ago. And it's just, Paul, anything could happen, couldn't it? But as a betting medium, you can see why the people, but the favourites have all gone through, haven't they, Mark? As much as anything, I think it's a real good betting medium for punters and bookies alike, because it's their opinion, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this format's helped. We've got the possibility of the draw. So all of a sudden, if you have gone for the win for, say, Liam Dunster, all of a sudden he draws, that's the end of your bet. And it makes it very exciting because it gives some more variety to outcomes of matches,
Well, out of them 162 matches we've had so far, how many have actually finished in a draw and a tie?
41.
Hang on, I've got to try to add this up. 41 into 100. So about 1 in 3, 1 in 4, is it? What?
Yeah, 25%, yeah, about that. Yeah.
25%.
25% chance of it being a draw.
And before it started, would you have thought that? You're a pool expert, you're a player as well. Well, you've even played in this tournament, haven't you, Mark? Would you have thought 1 in 4, or was that low or high?
I think 1 in 4 probably right, because obviously there's more outcomes for wins, 4-0, 4-1, 4-2, etc. So yeah, 1 in 4 is probably a little bit high, if anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
But it's been such a great tournament, hasn't it, as well? And tonight, well, we're going to look at our players in a minute, and there's 3 of the, well, you say 3 of the best, but everyone deserves to be there this evening, don't they? You've got Corey Reese, who really and truthfully is, he was the first player to get through, wasn't he, Mark?
Yeah, he was. He beat Liam Dunster in that Event 1 final by a sudden death black ball shootout. Don't be surprised if we see one of them again tonight. And then Gareth Ibbott, he won Event 2, and he came through a very tough semi-final where all players finished on 3 points. But managed, once he got through that, he got through and he never looked back, to be honest. And then Liam Dunster, he's played an incredible, after you said them first 3 matches you saw him play, he's played another 15 matches since then to try and get into this grand final. And here he is. He's in this grand final. That's what he's been playing for since the 3rd of January.
3rd of January?
Yeah, that's our first show.
Was it really the 3rd of January?
Was, yeah.
Cool. I remember New Year's Eve. I don't remember the 3rd of January.
Well, we was here on the 2nd, weren't we?
We was here on the 2nd, weren't we? Yeah, we was having a champagne then 2 days later, wasn't it? But
Still
it's been a
drunk,
great tournament, hasn't it, Mark, really? You're, as I said, your pool is your game, your hobby, you love it. And I should imagine, even most of the people in the pool world have enjoyed this tournament, haven't they? And also live on TV. Surely if you're a pool player, to get the chance to appear on TV, that must be fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure this programme and the IPA, what we've put on, and the players that have played in have been quite inspirational for people looking in, the audience that's been looking in on us, and I think everyone wants to get a piece of it. And we've had plenty more sign up to try and come and see what the IPA is all about. So it's been very encouraging, some of the numbers.
Oh, what, you think you've had more people sign up, more people have watched this on TV, Sporty Stuff, Champions Cup, and more people want to join the family, as it's called, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think Paul is on the it's on the increase a little bit, definitely. Out of the Q Sports, it's one of the most exciting Q Sports about at the moment. It's like the 2020 of Q Sports, and I'm sure we're going to go from strength to strength in these coming months and years.
Right, we're going to see our betting odds for this evening as well. Where you see it there, Liam Dunster, 11-10. I've seen a bit bigger than 11-10, to be truthful with you. 7-4, Gareth Hibbert, and 5-2, Corey Reese the outside. Now, as a bookie, I've been at the betting game a long time, over 40 years in the industry, and I think these odds are right tonight. Now, you're a pool expert, right? Do you think our betting partners have got it wrong or got it right?
They've got it absolutely spot on tonight, Gary. They've obviously been doing a lot of research over these past 10 weeks, and they've been looking at some statistics, and they've got it bang on. I'll tell you now.
So you think the favourite...
I'm normally quite critical of you bookies, but you've got it bang on tonight.
Right, we're talking of critical of bookies as well, right? I know you always fancy a draw as well, don't you? You think the draw. But tonight, I'm going to ask you later. Now, that fence you've sat on for the last 10 weeks, right? I know you've got splinters, but tonight, no splinters. I'm going to ask you for your pick tonight, later on, before the first match, who's going to win it, right?
Okay.
Right, there we go. Right, so Corey Reese, how about the former Corey this evening?
Yeah, so the way that he's got here, he played in that Event 1 tournament, and he's won 7 and drawn 2. And the 2 matches he's drawn are both against Liam Dunster, and both ended in a sudden death black ball shootout. Are we going to see that again tonight? It's more than possible. But what a brilliant record. He still hasn't lost in this Champions Cup, and he deserves his place in the final. Jibsy, ranked number 13, he's definitely breaking into probably top 10, top 8 this coming season. One of the informed players, one of the up-and-coming players. And that win-lose record there, 7 wins, 3 losses, 61% in 2021, 70% in his career. Now, that looks like he's a little bit out of form. But let me tell you, he's got to an IPA professional final this season. He's not out of form, and he's in another final now. He can cause an upset here tonight. He really can. He's such a brilliant player.
And all the boys in Bridgend, they'll be cheering on Corey tonight, weren't they?
Yeah, they will. And with it being more of a home nations as well, with the English, the Scottish and the Welsh, and that's going to make it a little bit more interesting as well.
I thought we was talking about the rugby then for a minute, Mark. Gareth Hibbert, what more can we say about Gareth? The Godfather, isn't it? Is his name?
You love his nickname, don't you? And as you can see, that win-lose record there, look, played 9, won 6, drawn 2 and lost 1. And the one that he lost was Ross Verney. I remember when he lost that very first match in that group, that was the time when all players finished on 3 points. And when that happened, he never looked back. He went on to win the final. Yes, it went down to the last couple of frames, but he just looked so comfortable throughout once he got past that semi-final stage.
He's a class player as well, isn't he?
He is. He's like elegant, and he skates around the table like it is elegant.
But
completely.
a lovely chap as well, isn't it? You know, well, all the pool, you know, as I said, I come in the game as a novice at the pool well when I first was invited on him. Dave invited us on to do the show, and really and truthfully, everyone's so friendly, aren't they, Mark?
Yeah, they are, and that's how the pool community is, and I'm sure that won't change, well, pretty much for as long as I'm alive in this pool world,
well, that's what we want to see, nice and friendly. But Gareth Hibbert there, the Godfather, ranking number 10, his second favourite this evening, 7-4.
But ranking number 10, he's now gone up to number 6 in the rankings after that World Championship final appearance. And that win-lose record there, 8 wins, 2 losses. And that loss at the end, that came to Liam Dunster in that World Championship final by 4-2. 64% in 2021 and 65% in his career. This guy is in form. He really is. He won the title in the Isle of Man. He's now in this final. He got to the World Championship final. It's final after final after final. He deserves his place tonight, and he's got. I understand why he's second favourite, but anybody not betting on Gareth Hibbert tonight, I'd be very surprised, because I'm sure he'll get plenty of backing tonight. In a minute, you're going to tell me your selection as well. And Liam Dunster, the world's number 1. He should be the worthy favourite, isn't he, Liam? Yeah, he is, and he's gone the long way about it. He's had to play Event 1 and Event 3. And he's only drawn 6 matches out of 18, winning 12. It's phenomenal. 2 of them draws came against Corey Reese. So we got 2 draws in event 1 and then 4 draws in event 3. And he didn't have it all his own way in event 3. He could have easily been up against it. But Liam's Liam. He does exactly what Liam does the best, puts players under pressure, sat there waiting for that chance. And when he gets that chance, he is so devastating and he's so hard to play against. And he's a credit, a perfect number 1 player, he really is. And he's going to take some knocking off that number 1 spot. And that win-lose record there, 5 wins, 4 draws, well, 6 wins, 4 draws, 78% in 2021 and 73% in his career. The man is in form. He does look very indestructible, to be honest.
Right. I'm going to ask you that question. Who do you think's going to win tonight?
I've looked at everything. I think Gareth Hibbett is going to win this tonight.
Gareth?
Yeah, I'm not sitting on any fences. I'm straight out there. I think Gareth Hibbett will win tonight.
If you know anyone who could build me a fence strong enough for me to sit on, don't forget you got my name and address as well. But so Mark's going for Gareth.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the favourite. Poor Corey, he's the outsider. No one's going to go for Corey, but we'd love to see Corey win. We want to see Corey. We do, don't we? You know, we want to see a shock here tonight.
He'll be a worthy winner. It's nothing against Corey. We just believe that the better players will come strong on the night.
And our first match this evening, Mark?
Well, the first match this evening is going to be Corey Rees against Gareth Hibbett. It's going to be very interesting. Look at that previous matches there. So Gareth Hibbett, he's won 7-6 and 3-1 in the World Championships in 2020. But look at that, an 8-1 win in a professional event for Corey Rees against Gareth. You know, and he's not a bad player, this Corey. Don't be surprised if he wins this match.
Well, the bookies, they've just got Gareth as favourite, but only just, you know, from Corey. It's really and truthfully, you know, it's a fantastic final as well. But don't forget our first match on Sporty Stuff TV, which will be our second match this evening, is Liam Dunster against Corey Rees. Now, this one here, just looking, Liam Dunster's favourite here. They go 11-10 and Corey Rees 15-8. But again, you think the bookies have got it right. Liam just shading the favouritism. Yeah, absolutely. But looking at them previous matches there, Liam hasn't beaten Corey for the last 3 matches. How much is that going to play a part tonight? It's going to be very interesting, that matchup. Odds, Mark. Well, look at our odds here, just coming up here. Here's the, well, Corey. Is there any value there for you?
Probably the draws.
I think the bet here, if I was playing here, is the Liam Dunster early bird double. Now, you've still got time to get on here. Liam Dunster to beat Corey. Liam Dunster to beat Gareth Hibbett. It's 4-1 it works out, but that's later on. I'm going to hand you over now to our referee this evening, and I think our first match today, is it Ben Taylor Fuente's got the first match?
He certainly has.
Over to you, Ben.
Champions Cup Grand Final. Match 1, best of 6 frames. First frame, Corey Rees to break. Time running.
Welcome, everybody. And you join us for the grand final. You've got the player at the table, the first to qualify for this grand final. You've got the world champion, and you've got the holder, Gareth Hibbett. And the road to the title always goes through the holder. And for me, this is going to be a roller coaster ride from start to finish. So buckle up. There's going to be a lot of drama and a lot of excitement you're going to witness tonight. And if you're a pool fanatic, you've come to the right place. And Dan Fairway, we're confessed pool fanatics. So I guess we've got to count ourselves very lucky to have the best seats in the house.
Yeah, absolutely. Apart from perhaps our referees, Ben Taylor Fuente and Brian Moss, I believe, making an appearance tonight as well. But yeah, other than those, I think you're right. I think these are the best seats. So what should be a pretty epic grand final. Certainly 3 of the very best form players from last year taking this one on.
Oh, Corey with a long plant to start things out. A little unlucky that cue ball's just floated over to that red and made cueing a little difficult. That the yellow that he hoped was going to be his next ball.
Yeah, it's just that getting that close to that red, it is just going to make this a bit tricky. He's got to be careful of the opposite centre pocket in off as well with this. Well, flicked off the red. How's his luck? Oh, that's okay.
And obviously, it's been said many, many times, but always worth noting, they're playing for $10,000, the top end of this event, winner's purse. So prize money creates pressure.
Corey's off to a good start here, but he's very straight on this yellow to the right centre. He may well have to leave those last 2 yellows in balk area as a plant. So he needs to drift this cue ball through, but leave enough angle to get the cue ball off the cushion so that when he plays the plant, he can stun the cue ball. Well, he's going a different way. He's going to come across the table in the gap between the 2 reds.
Speed of this shot, key, Dan. And if he lands nicely on that top yellow to the right corner.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great start for Corey Reese. Oh,
it's hung.
Just caught it a little thick because he didn't get the cue ball as low as he wanted. So a chance for Gareth.
Yeah, that is a gift-wrapped opportunity, really. Gareth would have been sat in his seat not expecting to get back to the table, I'm sure. And that may be the worst shot we see all night. It's always hard to get settled down early on into a match like this, but that is a shocker from Gareth here, but make no mistake.
At the end of the day, these guys are human. You know, they play at such a high level. We become so accustomed to watching them perform like machines. But as you said, it's early days. Now, this is the first frame of the 6-match schedule that we're looking at. And I doubt that'll be the first nor the last time you're going to be seeing balls missed under pressure because, as we said, this is the grand final.
Oh, Corey. You could see the grimace when he landed on that yellow over the pocket. He wasn't particularly happy with the angle. It's all about the red just below the yellow. That was always in the way of getting position. So he tried to screw back, tried to screw past it. That has really not worked. He's playing this off the red into the bottom left corner. This is close. Whoa.
Well, I don't think Gareth thought he was going to get back to the table in this first frame. And I don't think we did either, Dan, but you really can't see Gareth missing another softie.
No, you can't. The red that's directly below the black is probably the most difficult. He just needs to leave an angle on the red to the right of it to be able to sort of stun across in behind that. And if he can do that successfully, then he won't need that pocket that Corey's covered.
Well, he's left the perfect angle now on the red bottom right to drop onto that awkward one you alluded to. Leave the one over the left center last.
Just got to play it confidently and make sure he avoids the red. There you go.
One too many bites at the cherry allowed Gareth Hibbett, and it's going to cost Corey Reese. And what's more, it was Corey's break, so this is going to be a doubly hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, it was a nice break as well. You looked at the table afterwards and you thought, okay, it's not easy, But these are more than gettable for Corey. Gareth probably would have been sat in his seat expecting to be going 1-0 down, but as it turns out, he's going 1-0 up.
Yeah, and 1-0 it is. Gareth Hibbett takes the opening frame. Corey Reese looked like he was going to be in line to seize it, but no, this is going to be a punishing one. And we'll see Gareth's break in frame 2. And the shot really, at the outset, where Corey had left himself the angle to drift the cue ball over, he just caught that yellow a little too thick. Mind you, Gareth didn't punish him on that instance, but the second miss, well, that was a different story. So 1-0 it is to the Godfather, the 2016 world champion, Gareth Hibbett.
Hitting 1 frame to 0. Time running.
And the man who's had the trophy on his mantle for the last year. Ooh,
Foul.
disaster. A great break, apart from losing the cue ball.
Time running.
Yeah, that is absolutely the worst possible result, Jim, because not only is it straighting off, it's a massive break. Gareth Hibbett has got one of the best breaks in the game. And despite the cue ball there, well, apart from the cue ball, really, you can see why. Look at these yellows. They're just begging.
No, you can't see Corey failing this time. And this is a vital frame for him too.
Yeah. Clever first shot there. Knocked a red safe, put a yellow over the pocket, left himself nicely on a yellow. I suppose you could argue it was a bit unnecessary, but because these are just so easy for Corey. He can leave that yellow over the right centre to last. It will afford perfect position on the black. I'm almost tempted to chalk this one up in my notes already, Jim.
Well, I didn't bring an eraser, so I'm not taking the same chance as you are.
Oh, I've got that down in permanent marker.
Yeah, but it was such a good break from Hibbett. Corey didn't really have a lot to do. But they're going to be back on serve. And Corey Reese will break in frame number 3, 1-1. Just about the way you would have expected this to start out. A little bit of tentativeness from both players, but they're going to settle in. And I think you're going to see some dynamite pool before the night is done.
Was a comfortable frame there for Corey Reese and a good opportunity for him to get that first frame out of his mind. Couple of misses in frame 1. No such luck for Gareth Hibbett in frame number 2, and Corey Reese is back on serve. He will break again.
Frame 3.
Yeah, I think it was
Reese to break.
it was important for Corey too to get a little table time. Just get that back arm going, get a little bit of, a little bit of timing and just a feel for the tables. They will have hit balls in practice, all the players. Practice is never like matches.
That is massive.
Yeah, you mentioned that Gareth Hibbett has a big break, but Corey Hibbett doesn't really bow to too many people in that category either.
No,
Extension call.
it's just a little bit awkward the way these have come out. If that red wasn't covering that yellow towards the bottom left, then Corey would be working his way through the yellows right now. That is causing a problem. He may choose to go reds in that case, but there's no particularly nice opener on reds. He's got the one down to the bottom left. And that's about it from where I'm sitting.
Well, that's the one that he's eyeing up.
Very nicely cued. Played that with a fair chunk of check side just to hold the cue ball. Probably won't play the red he's closest to next because that's the nice positional ball for the black. So that'll be his last red. So one more long pot to come yet.
He really does deliver the cue. I'm remembering now the first time I saw Corey, and it was the very first match, I think. Very first group stage, early January, and I think Liam Dunster was in that group. And I was so impressed with how effortlessly he could move that white around, generate tremendous cue power, and he's got a nice fluid action.
Yeah, he's one of those players who doesn't really look like he's hitting the ball very hard at all, but generates huge amounts of spin. Just his timing is perfect. Perhaps this red down the rail will evoke memories of that yellow he missed in frame one. Needs to get those out of his head if it does.
That one never touched the cushion. And as you suggested, Dan, he's going to leave that red near the bottom right as last, offers the best position to the black. So he's parked Gareth in his seat effectively for 2 frames now, ever since the in-off from Hibbett's break.
Yeah, I think both players would be quite happy with a draw here. They've got to play each other again, of course. Each player plays the other twice tonight. So if you start off with a draw, it's not the end of the world.
Nice control of the cue ball in every facet here. I think the early misses are well and truly dispelled from Corey's mind. And it's a 2-1 lead to the Welsh player, Corey Reese. He's taken the last 2. And we'll sit back and see if Gareth Hibbett can break and try and keep that cue ball on the table.
Certainly needs to. It was a perfect, to be fair, the Gaz's opening break was brilliant. He flew the cue ball straight in off. If he can generate that sort of power, but retain a bit of more control over the cue ball, and Gareth is certainly going to be one to watch tonight. But if he keeps losing the cue ball like that, then he's going to be in deep trouble.
Gareth, if you fancied Gareth to be holding the trophy at the end of this, 7-4 you would have got. Corey, he was the outsider at 5-2.
Frame 4.
And the world champion as expected. And a 2-time winner of this event. He was 11-10. Cue ball right down the center line there and almost got kicked into the side pocket. Dan, that would have been disastrous.
Yeah, you could see there, though. He's taken a little bit off that break.
Cool.
But it hasn't really affected the split of the balls. It's a much more controlled break, and yet he's still got a huge amount of movement out of the pack. It's not quite the opportunity he's been presented with that he would have wanted. problems all over the place. You can see the yellow and the red stuck together over on the left-hand side. They're probably the biggest problem. But if he's looking at these two yellows up the right as a plant to start with, he's got to be careful to leave the yellow he's going to hit first. Well, if he goes for that later on in the clearance, it's still the same problem. He needs to leave that yellow in a position where it's plantable by playing a 3-ball plant on the yellow and the red in the balk area as well.
And Gareth, at 51 years of age, by a couple decades, the oldest of our finalists here, you've got to feel that, you know, his clock is ticking down a little quicker than the other two. So not going to get too many more titles within his grasp, you wouldn't think. So he wants to make hay while the sun shines. And I always remember that, that Gareth, we were talking and I looked at his bio, and even in his interview, he's made back-to-back 147s. And at first I thought that was a misprint. And then it might have been you I was commentating with, Dan, and said, yeah, he's not the only one in the tournament that's made back-to-back 147s. So a very, very talented cue sportsman.
Yeah, one of the best. He's an incredible snooker player as well as one of the best pool players in the world. I'm not sure I agree necessarily with your comments about him not winning too many more, Jim. I think he's got plenty left in the tank. And I think his run to the final of the World Championships was proof of that. Tried to pinch the pocket there, though. Hasn't worked out.
Well, I don't want to dwell on this too long, but I think what I mean is the two youngsters he's playing with got a lot more going for them in terms of time than Gareth does.
Maybe. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me to see Gareth still around when Corey and Liam are in their 50s, honestly. He just never seems to quit.
Well, Corey, at 28 years of age, he's a warehouse operator, turned pro in 2019. So he's the newbie of these three. In terms of professional status, anyway. He's got a little work to do if he wants to try and win at this visit. Those two reds on the left-hand side, not ideally placed. So Corey's got some work to do here.
Yeah, they're tricky. They are tricky. And there's no obvious way to get into them to move them. Is he going for a back double now? Oh, that's a long way off. Yeah, I wasn't ever convinced that that shot was on. Not the second time, not the first time, rather, that Gareth Hibbert's had a second bite at the cherry in this match. This time, surely he's got to take it.
Gareth turned pro around about 2007 and won the World Championship in 2016. And he is carrying English hopes in this final.
Yeah, this final's almost like the start of a joke, isn't it? An Englishman, a Scotsman, and a Welshman walk into a pool tournament.
Second time in the match, he's been given a lifeline in a frame, and both times he's secured it. And that's why the first 4 frames have been split. And Corey Reese, Gareth Hibbett, hand in hand to the finish line in this opener.
Here's Corey squeezing that red through the gap that almost wasn't there. But to no avail. Gareth Hibbett ended up winning the frame.
Yeah, you can't really see any 4-0 score lines in any of these matches tonight. Not with these players. There's just too much talent, too much confidence and experience out there.
5. Corey Reese to break. Scores are tied, 2 frames all. Time running.
Yeah, I agree with that, Jim. Although Corey would argue he should have had a 4-0 already because he's missed a couple of chances.
Considerably faster break than Gareth Hibbett's. Gareth, he broke just under 20 kilometers an hour, and Corey was just over 31.
Seriously awkward table, though, for Corey Reese. Not the result he wanted at all. He's only really got a starter on reds. And those 2 reds to the right of the black. Well, once he pots this one, he's actually not going to pot that one. Because if he did pot that one, he'd have had no red anywhere near those 2 to break things open with. And Gareth wastes no time throwing it back to Corey, saying, I don't fancy it, you have a go.
And with Gareth's experience, I don't know that Corey really wants to get into a tactical battle with him. Mind you, Liam Dunster, he'd be the opposite end of that scale. He's got a sound tactical mind, does Liam?
I totally agree, but to be honest, Jim, they all have. Now, what does Gareth do here? He could play directly into that yellow that's welded to that black and actually leave the cue ball stuck on the yellow, but move the black into a more tricky position. Would certainly open up yellows as the colour to be, but without leaving Corey a shot on them. And he went aggressive.
Yeah, Corey's body language, though, he's he doesn't feel like it's a gilt-edged opportunity that he was hoping.
No, you can always can always tell what Corey's thinking. He's certainly not got the poker face of Liam Dunster, or Gareth for that matter. Thing is, it's still a similar situation. Corey wants to be yellows because the black's tied up if you're reds, and those 2 reds in the centre of the table at the top end. But he didn't have a yellow to go at, so he was forced into reds. There's a lot of work on here for Corey Reese.
And from the lay of the land right now, you almost have to feel those 2 reds have to be developed at some point. How about now?
Oh, that's a terrific shot because he had to play that at the perfect pace. Any more, and the cue ball would have thrown out further and into that yellow. Any less, and he wouldn't have made contact. It's a brilliant shot. It's still not a great chance. Now he's going to take this red long. He may leave himself a double next shot. He's tried to reverse side. How's that come out? I don't think it's good.
I don't think it's that bad. I think he can get through to that bottom red, and he's looking at the other red to the center pocket, and he can use the black or the yellow to hold position for that red. He may be okay here.
Yeah, but when we look at the overhead, you can see, Jim, you were right.
So isn't this something? From nowhere, Corey Reese has provided unbelievable opportunity, and this will be a clearance that, well, it will assure him of 1 point, but it'll be one of the better clearances we'll be witnessing.
Timeout? Certainly.
Yeah, it's still not over yet, Jim. You can see he's having the cue ball clean there. I don't know if he feels he's had a bad contact, but he's got to be very wary about snookering himself behind.
Time running.
Probably the yellow in the centre of the table from this shot. Probably play this with lots of check side just to make sure he's got a shot at the black.
He won't carry too much about distance, I wouldn't think, Dan. And he open look at that black where it is. But as you said, if he decides to try and check this, that'll really increase the degree of difficulty. Now, can he cue at this comfortably away from that yellow? If he can, it's long and straight, but a big shot in the first match coming up.
Yeah, possibly a slightly awkward hand position, but he can. No, he's just about okay. He can cue it off the cushion.
Frame.
What a clearance from Corey Reese there. Tremendous clearance, as good as any you're going to see. And for that reason, he takes a 3-2 lead, guarantees himself at worst a draw, but he'll sit back, and the Godfather will break in the 6th frame.
Yeah, big moments now for Gareth Hibbert.
That was the shot that bought himself the chance to dislodge the Reds. And what a great clearance. Mark that one down on your scorecards. Next up, Liam Dunster. Well, Corey Reese, he'll stick around. That one will be the first match on Sporty Stuff TV coming your way.
Frame 6.
Oh, maybe
Gareth Hibbert to break.
25 minutes or so. We'll be kicking that one off. But first, let's see how this one settles down. Big difference from his last break, wasn't it, Dan? 34.2, that one. You said he had a lot of power.
He does, but he was a bit lucky that cue ball stayed out. It rattled in the jaws and just about got out of the way before that red and yellow popped in there.
Called.
Actually, I think a much better chance than it looks here, because he can play this red that he's pointing his cue at in off the yellow into the right centre, and then the reds, they're not far off being drop-ins. As long as he can see that angle, see enough of that red, it should be 3-all.
No, he didn't want that yellow coming down and covering the pocket, bottom right. That's going to make life more difficult for Gareth.
Yeah, that's a big fly in the ointment. He's got to really find a way to get the cue ball down. He does have a similar option to the shot he played first off. That yellow will go in quite nicely into that right centre off the yellow closest to it. And getting the cue ball down there isn't the most difficult of jobs. This could
He's
well
got
be
the angle
shot.
on the red near the bottom left hand. If he wants to try and take that cue ball over towards that awkward red, the time may be now.
Yeah, you can see him there lining it up. He's got to be really careful not to catch that yellow on the bottom rail. If he catches that, he could find himself in deep trouble. Oh, look at that. What a shot, Gareth Hibbert.
Well, catching that yellow has dropped him nicely into position. So again, both players, where they may have labored in the early going in this one, well, they've found that gear that we expected. And I think if this finishes at 3-3, it's a pretty good start and a pretty fair result to starting out this grand final.
Yeah, terrific finish this from Gareth.
And there you have it. Corey Reese, Gareth Hibbert. Well, the holder, he hasn't tasted defeat, not yet. 3-3, Hibbert and Reese, and what a start to the grand final.
Yeah, you can tell it's final night, Jim, can't you? I think there was a bit of nerves there in that early part of the match there, weren't there, Mark?
Yeah, and unexpected. I was expecting to see a few nerves in this opening match. There's a lot at stake, and losing your first match can put you under quite a bit of pressure, and a fair, draw's a fair result, and I went for a draw as well in my picker's pick.
So they've only got 3 pops, the players this evening, haven't they? 3 matches, so
4.
draw. They're playing each other. They've got
Twice, yeah.
Twice, so
yes.
Yeah, so really and truthfully, that 1 point is really, really crucial, isn't it?
It could well be, and it could go right down to the very last match, last 2 matches, whichever one it is, and they'll probably look back and thinking that was a point that I've got away with there, and it'll come, really important towards the
But
end.
there was plenty of nerves there, weren't there, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely, and don't be expected. You'll see plenty more, and probably when it gets down to the business end of this grand final, then we're going to really see it, the twitching, the etc. It's all about who can control it the best.
And don't forget, coming up 9:45, Sporty Stuff TV, our second match this evening, and Liam Dunster against Corey Reese. Liam's favourite, 11-10. Corey Reese 15-8. But how Corey played there, he's got as much chance as Liam to win this, hasn't he, Mark?
Yeah, he has, and it seems like he's settled. He hasn't got anything to lose, and I think he knows that now. He's just got to relax, enjoy this final, and he will get some results here tonight.
Yeah,
he really will. He'll take points off Dunster and Hibbert.
So don't forget, they're 9:45 Sporty Stuff TV live. We'll be back. Hope you're going to come and join us as well. It's grand final night, Sporty Stuff Champions Cup, Paul. It's a fantastic night of pool. We'll see you at 9:45.